And now we move on to our Android Journey section, and we are joined by Angela. Welcome, Angela. We said hello to you before, but Warren, why don't you lead us off on this one?
Thank you so much. And the reason why is the Android Journey story is my most favorite part of the episodes. And every time that we get one person to come on, I'm like a kid in a candy store. And so I'm thankful that Angela, you're joining us today to talk about my most favorite part of the episode, the Android Journey story. And so if you wouldn't mind, just tell us when you got started and all that kind of stuff. Tell us about that Android Journey story, whether you had any problems on the way and what your solutions were, because someone may be in that same boat and your solution may be something that become their salvation. And also let us know, if you will, where you're coming from or joining us from and things like that. So Angela, it's your turn. Let's go down the Android Journey story lane.
Thank you, Warren. Hello, everybody. My name is Angela. I'm also known by Angela3011, which is my DJ name and my YouTube channel name. And sorry about the background music. My girlfriend is getting ready, and she has music on in the background, so hopefully it's not too noisy. So I started using Android just as a, just to see what it was like in 2016, I want to say. I used to have a friend who I used to go to his house, and he had an Android phone. Now, this was before I had a smartphone at all. At that point, I actually had an iPad. I was just starting out on iOS, and I had one of those dumb phones, the flip phone. I started using his phone kind of like just to play around, and he had some different games and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. In 2017, I got my first iPhone as a graduation gift from my late grandmother. I graduated from the Pride program at the Arizona Center for the Blind, and she gave me her iPhone 5, her old iPhone 5, because she upgraded, I think, to the 8. So I got her old iPhone 5, and I was playing around with iOS. By 2018, I had upgraded from the iPhone 5 to the iPhone 7. I decided I was going to add a second line to my Verizon account so that I could still keep the iPhone line active and play around with Android, because I met a friend of mine who had the Samsung Galaxy J3. So I decided to get the J3. Verizon had it, and I decided I would give it a try. It was like had the old version, like voice assistant with the really old. This was like before Samsung collaborated with Google, and it just had like the really old screen reader. And I remember I tried it. I was listening, to the YouTube channel to another story. I believe it was Will. I was listening to his story, and basically he said that his mother got him an Android phone, and basically it lasted 3 days. He lasted 3 days before going back to the iPhone. I didn't even last that long. I was so fed up with the J3 that I wanted to hurl the thing at the wall. And this was long before multi-finger gesture support. This was long before the shortcuts. You had to like do the angle gestures on the screen and all that drawing. I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And I was just so frustrated with it. And I'm just like, I sent a message to my girlfriend at the time. Not the same girlfriend I'm with now, and it worked. And I was able to read her message, but I'm just like, this is just too much. I can't do this. I didn't last 3 days. I lasted 1 day. I went back to Verizon the next day. I said, I can't do this. I said, here's the phone. And the manager was understanding and kind enough to waive the restocking fee, which they usually don't do, but they waived it that time because I was struggling with it. And I made a promise to myself that I was never, and I mean never, ever, ever, ever going to use Android ever again. I was that adamant that I would never use Android for the rest of my life because it's horrible. And who in the name of all that's holy would recommend such a horrible system? It's awful. I hate it. I will never use it again. Went back to iOS. So this lasted probably about a year and a half, actually. Almost a year and a half. I was on an app called Dabble, which some of you might have heard of. It was for iOS, but that app I think is off the App Store. Thank God. That was just not a very nice app. It sounded fun at the time. What got me interested in Android again was a Dabble stream that I listened to of this lady. I forget her name. This was around September 2019, and she was doing a demonstration of the Google Pixel 3a. And I'm like, so I message her. I'm like, wow, this is really, really interesting, and it seems really accessible. And I'm like, maybe Android has gotten better. I said, how much was this phone? And she's like, it's about $400. This was when the 3A had come out, and I'm like, I may try Android again. So a few weeks went by, and my grandpa gave me some money to purchase a Google Pixel, and I didn't have the money to get the 3A. It was just too expensive. I didn't have that kind of money. But I got the original Pixel XL that came out in 2016. I had another friend who actually was patient with me and sat me down and taught me the basics of Android. He taught me how to better do the angle gestures. He taught me how to navigate the phone better. He basically taught me everything that there was to know about Android. I still kept my iPhone around. I had an iPhone 6S. I still kept it because I wanted to play around with Android. I wasn't ready to make it my primary driver at the moment. I'm actually really glad that I did keep my iPhone around because that Pixel XL, the motherboard died in it. And so then I went from a Pixel to a Motorola. I did the Motorola E5 Play. That was a piece of crap device. I kept having issues with it. And I've tested out some other brands as well. I've tested out a couple phones from Motorola. I currently have a Moto G Stylus 5G 2021, but that's mostly for backup. It's a good phone, but I like Samsung better. So, plus that phone's not going to get any more updates. Motorola is notorious for being slow with updates. And I also tried the LG brand. I had the LG Stylo 6. I really liked the stylus features, like to make like drawings and stuff, because I have some vision, so I like to draw pictures and stuff. But navigation was really hard. The way LG had all their settings set up, it was just not very easy to navigate the phone from my experience of it. So I quickly sold the LG Stylo 6 and I went to a Google Pixel 3. And this was in 2020. I got it on sale on Amazon for $150, and the Pixel 3 decided to die on me within a couple of months of owning it. I've never had very reliable experiences with the Pixels. And now, I officially, as of this year, I have left the Apple world, I would say about 95%. And the reason I say 95% is because I just purchased a Mac. I actually was the one that wrote on the list about recording talkback speech, and I've just never been a Windows user. I don't care for Windows too much, but I like the Mac, so I've left the Apple world about 95%, because I still like Macs. So I'm going to be working with Android and Mac and putting them together, which should be pretty fun. Actually, now that I know of how to put them together, it'll work out great. But as far as my phone, now, current day, I did try the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I wasn't impressed. I know it has really good cameras and a really good battery and the S Pen and stuff, but it's just kind of like I have a Moto G stylus for like a tenth of that price, and I can do the same thing. It really wasn't for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. So I upgraded to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. I actually just got this phone a couple of weeks ago, and I really love the flip phone. I like the form factor. I do wish the battery life would be a little bit better, although I used to have the Z Flip 3, and the Z Flip 4 is 3,700 milliamp hours as opposed to 3,300, so there was some upgrade there. However, I do wish that there would be, at least if they could just upgrade it to like 4,000 or 4,500, that would really be nice. Although Samsung does do a pretty good job optimizing the battery, I've noticed, and I do love my Z Flip 4. I love how compact it is. I love how I can just take it anywhere, put it in my pocket. I really love recording on this phone. The mic, I use Easy Voice Recorder Pro, which I'd love to do an app of the week for that sometime and demonstrate it, but the microphones on this thing are phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. I love my Z Flip 4, and I actually have a video on my YouTube channel of me unboxing it on the day that I got it, and yeah, it's a wonderful phone. I absolutely adore my Z Flip 4. But yeah, that is my story pretty much in a nutshell, and I hope you liked it.
Wonderful story. Now we're talking about this Z Flip 4, and so I happen to be one of those that don't necessarily care about the flip phones, but I mean, kind of reminds me of those retro days. You are talking about the flip phone, but I think the one thing that I always liked about the flip phone is, say I'm on the phone with someone, you got into some heated argument or whatever, something you're not agreeing, and you just flip that thing shut and ends the call. I think that's my most favorite part of a flip phone.
Child.
Uh,
Child.
And you can answer it that way by opening it, or you could set it to, which is nice.
exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
I do have it set that way. Exactly. I do have it set that way so that when I flip the phone open, it answers the call. So yes, I do have it set that way.
And when you flip it close, does it answer? I mean, does it end the call as well?
It does end the call. The only time it does not is if you have a headset plugged in.
Oh
Then
no,
it
yeah,
will
that's
not.
understandable. Yeah,
Then it will
but
not end the call. But if you don't have a headset plugged in, yes, it does.
so it may
That's a
still
bit
have that feature
annoying.
that I may want to get it then, because for me, it's just being able to,
Yeah.
slam that thing.
So
I'm done.
so when Warren gets in a heated argument, he's got to go, hold on, I'm so angry right now.
Yeah,
Give me a second. I need to disconnect my headphones. Okay, goodbye.
and I
then
slam
Yeah.
it. I slam
It,
it, and
it
I'm
shouldn't
done.
make you disconnect your headphones.
No,
That's annoying.
presumably the reason it doesn't, though, is it lets you answer the call from the headset when the phone's folded. So
Yeah, I think so
that's
too. Yeah,
why.
yeah, and a lot of times if you are using a headset, you want
Yeah.
to close your phone and put it in your pocket and keep
exactly.
talking. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Now
keep talking.
Yeah, going back to the angle gestures, Angela, and I know it's one of those things that a lot of people kind of seem to have a problem with. It's not. I think that the problem here, or the myth here, or whatever, I had to use the word myth, but anyway, it's the fact that those gestures, those angular gestures, actually don't even have to be precise. I can almost draw like a letter C, print C, and the system is intelligent enough to translate that as me wanting to draw a line down and curving to the right, and which would activate, like, for example, the talkback menu. So the angle gestures are not as bad as they used to be. So if that was back in 2016, yeah, we've come a long way. The angle gestures are very forgiving and know one's intent. And so I don't use angle gestures a lot, but then there are times I use them for certain actions, customize them for certain things. So I do like the fact that we have the angle gestures apart from just the recently implemented tabs or four-finger tabs. It's something I don't use, but I like the angle gestures for certain things. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting used to it. And I can imagine someone going to Fruitvale Land, that's Apple Land, for the first time from Android. It will be the very same thing. I still struggle with Apple myself. I mean, I do have it, and I pick it up for like 2 minutes and I put it aside, because whenever I go to do something, I'm thinking Android, and then it doesn't work. I'm like, oh, dumb head. You should try it different way. So, for example, I want to pull down my notifications, and I just couldn't. And I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
So
my
I can understand
girlfriend,
where you're coming from.
my girlfriend, she has both. She has an iPhone and she has Android. She has both, and she does the same thing. The other day, she tried to do Android commands on her iPhone, and it didn't work very
Exactly.
well.
Didn't work.
No, it wouldn't work. And that's what frustrates me, because I'm thinking Android, and I
Oh,
don't
your
have
iPad?
Android in hand. What I have is, the Apple stuff, and I'm trying to do Android. Of course, it's not going to work. And so I can see where you're coming from.
I used the Samsung voice assistant, but I used it in 2018 when I started using it, and I liked it because I didn't have to do any angle gestures or anything because I didn't like them. I know some people do, and they're great defenders. And what's great is that they've stayed for anyone who likes them. Because by 2018, and I don't know what it was like in 2016, but by 2018, you could do things like double tap to play and stop audio, or to end a call with voice assistant, even though you couldn't do that with talkback. Yeah, I don't remember having to do angle gestures with voice assistant ever, but I maybe didn't use it early enough to have that issue. So I just wondered, was it voice assistant where you had the angle gestures, or was it
I
just
think
in talkback?
Voice Assistant had them as well, but
Oh, really?
you didn't have to
Okay.
use them. It also had multi-finger gestures.
Yeah. Here's what's happening. If you had the J series did not have voice assistant. You have to have a
Oh,
higher phone, like, either the S series, to have voice assistant. But if you had a J series, that was using TalkBack. And so it will be the angle gestures that you're talking about. But yes, Fee, if you have a phone that has the voice assistant, then, we have those TalkBack gestures now are based on that voice assistant. So there was no
yeah.
need of an
They're,
angle gesture if you didn't want to use those
yeah, they're
with your
very.
voice
I
assistant.
like them. They're
Yeah,
very good.
actually, some
Yeah.
people still prefer them. Unfortunately, Samsung is not doing that anymore. Well, Angela, thank you so much for coming in and talking about your Android journey story, even though you are insulting my Pixel phone, but I forgive you. It was a great
Oh,
story.
yes, I enjoyed it.
Frankly, we appreciate you coming on to talk with us
Yes,
today.
thank you.
And we're glad you like your Samsung phone. And spitting in the face of my Pixel is okay. I'm used to it. So don't feel
I'm
bad
glad
about
you
it.
hate pixels. Down with pixels.
Yeah, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I have to agree with Ed because mine just died. Both of mine just flat out died. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.